My name is Rick Reinhardt, and I am here with the Pro Wrestling Archives with Al Snow. Al, thanks a lot for this seminar today, man. It was really cool.
Well, thank you very much for coming.
Yeah. I got to ask you this question. I was at the old arena shows and the ECW shows, and what was it like first getting over with the head gimmick and everything? Because I was there, man. That was nuts.
It was such an awesome time, an awesome memory, and I think for the grace of God and ECW fans and Plastic Head, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have a career. So
it was something else. I remember they were giving out the heads before the show. And
yeah.
I had one for like 20 years after. It was crazy.
Yeah.
So about the match with Shane Douglas at the pay-per-view, I know you were saying earlier that it was a Paul E. swerve. It just seemed like it could have went such a different way, and I don't know. It was such a shock.
You try things, and and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
And time will tell. A lot of people said that they felt that like people expected and wanted me to win the title, and when it didn't happen, they were like turned off, like they were disappointed. But there may be just as many that thought it was wow, I never thought that would happen,
Yeah.
Never expected that. So you never know.
Yeah, it almost kind of reminded me of when they turned Fonzie on Taz, because they were like a perfect match, and I just never knew why they did certain things they did.
Yeah.
You were hotter than hot at that time, man. I mean, I never saw anybody get that over that fast.
It wasn't fast. It took a while.
Okay.
But I was really happy with how things were going. I was loving life. It was great.
Yeah. Cool.
Hey, this is Alan Fenstermaker here with the Pro Wrestling Archives. I'm here with Al Snow. Thanks again for doing this seminar. I definitely got a lot out of it. Now, I was just wondering, how would you describe your experience in Smokey Mountain Wrestling and in ECW?
I loved both. They were both unique and different from each other. Smokey Mountain Wrestling, I love Jim Cornette dearly, and got the opportunity to work with Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson, which was priceless. And ECW, Paul Heyman was fantastic, and I got the opportunity to work with Shane Douglas on a regular basis, who I admire, and Taz and Sabu and Rob, all the guys. It was completely unique and different from each other, but both great.
Okay. Now, what was it like working with Dan Severn? Because I know you trained him. I actually had him on for an interview also in the archives, and he was saying that you guys wrestled in a prison yard show match at the Lima Correctional Facility. What was that like?
Yeah, we did. We used to do shows at the prisons, and that was a little different. They have their own laws in there, their own rules, their own sense of etiquette. So it was very wild. And Dan's awesome. He's a great person, and we trained for professional wrestling, and then together for the UFC. And Lord knows we didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know what we were even getting into back then compared to what they do now. It was night and day between the two types of UFCs. So.
Now, what kind of training did you do that's different between UFC and pro wrestling?
Well, pro wrestling is a different footwork, different timing, different distance. UFC, same thing, because you're trying to, with pro wrestling, communicate your intent and not actually have it, where with UFC, you're really trying to have the intent to win.
Now, what was it like working with both Maven and Chris Newinski on Tough Enough, and getting to work with them in WWE?
They were great. Tough Enough was a great memory and was probably one of the more prouder things I've done in professional wrestling. So.
Now, did WWE approach you about becoming a trainer on Tough Enough, or how did that all come to pass?
Yeah, I was approached by JR and Kevin Dunn, and they asked me to be a part of it, and it became a really marvelous experience.
Now, what was it like forming a bond between yourself and the students? Because I know I heard the students called you, like they were part of Al's kids and all.
Well, the kids reference comes from, it's an old term in boxing or wrestling, because in the old days you were held responsible for those that you trained, so they were your kids. And I do care about them, and I always watch out for them because they're my responsibility. You're still held. They carry my reputation around with them, so they're my kids.
Okay. Now, what was it like being part of the New Rockers?
Marty is, I was lucky to get to wrestle with Marty. I don't think Marty gets the appreciation or the respect for the talent that he has and just how really good he is. You know, Marty actually had more experience and was the person who taught Sean and kind of led Sean when he first broke into the wrestling business.
Now, what was it like your feud with Hardcore Holly over the Hardcore title?
Hardcore Holly, you know, those matches were a lot of fun, and they were rough and they were very physical. But you know, Bob's such a believable and real guy because you know he's so intense that you know.
Now, what was your relationship like with Mick Foley, and how did you like working with him?
Well, Mick's a friend of mine, and we've had a certain on-air chemistry that still continues to this day, and you know, but I haven't seen or spoke to him for a while, so that's a blessing.
Now, what was your relationship like with both Paul Heyman and Jim Cornette from working with them? And
well, they were both the same, you know. Cornette, they're opposite sides of the same coin. They're both very passionate about professional wrestling. They're both very driven, and they're both very creative and very talented. And I was very lucky to work with both of them in different manners with different styles and different approaches.
Okay. So. Awesome. Now, thanks for doing this interview, man.
Thank you.